Thanks for joining in, guys, for probably another long and uneventful hunt. It has been a long, monotonous grind of trying to find a mature deer. Don't even care about the size of his rack. Just trying to find a deer that is a little bit older. Seems to be the year of 2.5-year-old bucks, maybe 3.5-year-old, but mainly two-year-old deer. It's hot. It's almost December, and it's about 80 degrees, 70-something degrees out. It's miserable. It's the worst season we've ever had for deer. It's terrible, but it is what it is. Hunting this spot mainly 2 reasons. One, it needed to be freshened up on the bait pile, and I'm a long ways away from any of the other properties that I've got to hunt. So I'm gonna drive all the way out here. I might as well sit here and hunt. Number 2 is this spot has been known in the past to produce some bigger deer that are not necessarily on camera, mainly because it's just a natural travel corridor between several bedding areas, and there is a pile of land to my right that ties into this, and it's a really good spot for those deer to kind of roam around and scent check. One problem I got is from the hurricane, we've got a bunch of blowdowns right here in front of me that literally just create a wall around the rest of the ridge that I could hunt. And in the past, a lot of good deer kind of come from that 2 o'clock area, and I'm worried that is just a little bit of a restriction for these deer on them being able to come. So not crazy wild about that, but that's just the hand we've been dealt this year. So wind's blowing naturally, and just adding to the horrible weather that we've got. But we're here. Can't kill them from the couch. Even though I might have a better chance at a mature buck from the couch than I would here, but we're gonna make the best of it. Got the old 308 ready to rock and roll. My little shorty. Move this away so maybe y'all can see a little bit. This is my new Night Stalker Precision 308, little 16.5-inch barrel, carbon barrel, tracked optics scope. It's got a folding stock, so if I want to pack it down, I can. But I really like this rifle for this type of situation because it's so short and compact that I can maneuver up here in this tree relatively easy without, fanning a big long gun all the way around. And on top of the fact, it's always nice whenever you can shoot suppressed. If you've not ever shot suppressed or you don't have a suppressor, I would highly recommend you guys looking into it because it's a game changer. We're in it till dark. Keep them crossed, baby. We're gonna need some luck. Well, the sun has just set behind the mountains. It's got a beautiful little sunset. making all the mountains purple and blue. It feels like the sunset is bringing some calm conditions, trying to let that wind settle down a little bit, which I think is what we need. We've not seen any deer, by the way, which I know you guys can tell that, but I kind of figured that was going to be pretty much par for the course going in. This is one of those places in the afternoons that either happens like as soon as you sit down in the stand, or it's the last 10 dang minutes of shooting light. And we've been struggling here the last little while to just see deer in the afternoons, let alone have a mature deer come in. Right now the deer that we're hunting here, I don't even know if it exists or what it is, if it does exist. So it's kind of an exciting allure to this spot, as they don't always come in front of the trail camera here. Probably the biggest deer that I've ever killed here, I was actually hunting a deer that was 10 or 15 inches smaller than he was. And he just come cruising right through here. I think I shot him off down in there. I was in a different tree at that time, with a different lock on setup. But definitely calming down a little bit, so I'm hoping maybe these deer getting ready to get up on their feet and start moving, and hopefully this is kind of the first little staging area before they move on into where they're going to go for the night. So we still got a little bit of time. It's 5:09. We got about 50 minutes, 45 to 50 minutes. Probably go ahead and go mask up. Just be ready for them to come sleeking through here and popping up on us. What's going on, guys? Welcome back. We are back in for an afternoon set. We seen one small buck yesterday afternoon come in pretty much right at dark. Was not able to hunt this morning, but it looked like we had a good bit of deer movement this morning at some time. We seen that 8-pointer that I let walk the other day. He was on camera 2 or 3 times today, all night last night, and then 2 or 3 times this morning and midday. So my guess is either his doe is bedding right here close by that he's staying with, or he finally bred that doe and now he's working in and out, weaving in and out of these bedding areas looking for another hot doe to link up with. So it's hot. It's like 65, 67 degrees. It's almost December. It's miserable. But we do have a cold snap coming next week, so I think that will probably help things out a pretty good bit. The wind is out of the northwest, which in this spot you would think that wind in that direction with where these deer bed at would be not a good wind, but what I've found is, I guess, down closer to that bottom, the wind, I believe, cuts back a little bit to the left, so the deer never quite get downwind of me. And some of the best sits that I've had morning and afternoon has been with that type of wind, where it's pretty much right on the brink of being a bad wind. It technically is a bad wind, but once you get down there to actually where the deer are at, the wind is doing something a little different. So I feel good about it. I think we'll see some deer this afternoon. We've got 2 or 3 deer over here that I would shoot. One, I've only had one photo of, and it was in the daylight in the afternoon at like 4:30. Just randomly. One photo, and that was it. The other deer that I would hope to see, we have not had a trail camera photo of in the last probably 4 weeks. Maybe not quite that long, maybe 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. So that's a little unfortunate, because we're really just hunting this area because there's a lot of does moving through here, and there's the potential for a good buck to show up. So that's the game plan as of right now. So we'll take it easy. We're locked in here till dark. Hopefully we can make it happen. Guys, I can't tell if y'all can see her. I don't know if you see a body of a deer right there, but there's a pretty good buck. I can't tell. I can't tell which deer it is. I just seen he had one good side. You can see he's rubbing his glands together right there. There was a little buck come by, and I guess this deer stood up out of his bed. And kind of pushed that little buck off. Looks like he might be making a scrape right there. Yeah, he's horning a tree. I can't tell a whole lot about that deer. I can tell he's got good horns though. Yeah, he's over there horning a tree. Oh no, he's sparring with that little buck. I thought he was horning a tree. I think it's that 8-pointer. Pretty sure it's that 8-pointer that I've been seeing over here. I've let him walk a couple times. He's a good deer. I can't believe he was right. I mean, where he was bedded at was in a log jam right beside my stand, probably. Heck, I bet this deer's been 30, probably not that far. That deer's probably been 60, 70 yards away from me this entire time. And it took that little bitty buck coming in there and getting him to stand up for me to notice him. Well, guys, we got three bucks right here on their feet. 2 little bucks, and then we've got that one pretty good 8-pointer. I'm about positive that 8-pointer's the one I've been seeing in here. But he's got a doe, I'm assuming, bedded over in that thick stuff over my shoulder. Because when that little buck pushed up into that thicket, that big buck come out of there and pushed him out. And it wasn't too much longer, this other little buck come up through the field too. And him and this other little buck are just having a stare off. I think that little buck's trying to figure out if this other little buck has the doe. He's weighing his options on if he thinks he can beat that little buck up. But I don't think he realizes that the big old 8-pointer is in there. Which I think that right there, I think that this could explain why we don't have any bigger bucks showing up on camera other than this one, because I think they're locked down with does the same way that this one is. He's doing whatever that doe does. He's not chasing her. He's just got her he's got her pushed up into a little corner where anything that comes in there to mess with him, he can fend them off. I mean, he literally just he come out of that thicket, pushed this little deer off, and then he turned and just went right back in there. So that tells me he's being very territorial in that spot and this little area. And my guess is there's those bigger deer, they've probably got their own little zone somewhere back in there closer to the bedding area where it's very similar. This one little spike, he's going to be a problem. He's coming in straight downwind, trying to find me. I think he can smell me and smell that doe. That bastard, he knows I'm here, he just don't know where I'm at. Well, good morning, guys. We are back here in the stand. We had a pile of deer come in here last night. Had a really, really good set. I was fortunate enough to watch that bigger 8-pointer tend that doe that he's with, and kind of watch his different reactions depending on the different bucks that were coming into this field. We wound up seeing 2 other 8-pointers, two 6s, and a couple spikes, and then 1 doe. I'm assuming that 1 doe that come in there by herself, I'm assuming she's already been bred. But once that big buck didn't have any issues with those spikes and little bitty 6s kind of being around him, and he kept them kind of pushed away, but he wasn't overly aggravated. But as soon as those other 8-pointers came out into the field and started working, I watched him stand up, and he nudged that doe, got her up, and he took her the other way out into a thicket on that side. I've had a lot of deer come from back in that way of the mornings coming back into here, but not typically if they're with a doe or chasing. Usually that all happens kind of out in front of me. But it's been a little calm this morning. Usually we've got deer all over the cameras and everything right at first light, but we've not really seen a lot of that right now, which is not a bad thing. It means we were able to get in here without busting anything out. So it's a beautiful morning. It's probably 37 degrees, 38 degrees, and it's probably going to drop 2 to 3 degrees as that sun's coming up, which is, for where we're at, that's a perfect temperature. Those deer really, really, really like to move when it gets that temperature. That's when we've had some of our best luck in the mornings, is that mid to upper 30s. Our deer here, we're not from the north, so we don't need a huge cold front to get these deer up and moving and chasing does and pushing does around and cruising. We just needed to be, 2 to 3 degrees below average or right at average, and they'll do it. So just now getting good camera light, so we're gonna buckle up, sit in here for several hours and see See if we get lucky. We've not really had a shooter buck on camera in the last 3 weeks, 2 weeks. So that's a little depressing, but seeing that 8-pointer locked down with that doe tells me that these other bigger bucks, that's probably what they're doing, is they're just tending does right now. So if they'll get them bred here in the next couple of days, I think these deer get up on their feet and start doing it again. So let's see if we get lucky. We got a couple does. It's like 2 young does, a bigger doe. And I can't tell about that 4th doe. If it's a bigger doe or if it's a smaller doe. But that right there is what we need for if a big buck has bred his doe and he's up looking for a new girlfriend. This right here is exactly what we need. We need several does coming in that they can roll through and scent check. They don't really act like they've been harassed or pushed. But that lead doe, she is definitely on the high alert. Five does. I'm sure a couple of them are some button bucks. That's pretty cool. Just deer coming everywhere. It's amazing how easy they can hide in that taller broomstraw grass. Well, guys, we had a group of 6 does come out. And they kind of fed up the hill. We had two does that kind of branched off on their own, and one's running right at me now. They've just been doing weird stuff, like running in circles. Like they ran up probably 150 yards up the hill, then turned around and came straight back down. And like started weaving in and out of thicker stuff. And now they're right back here. But I can't. Now it's just one doe. That one doe is a little bit bigger than the other one. I can't tell if that one right there is the bigger one or the smaller one. They're just doing very, very odd things. They stared at something back up here in the field, and they went up above me. And then, turned and come back down, and there was nothing in the field. Now this doe's she'll run to the fence line, look off down through there, and then she'll run back here towards me, and then run on up the hill, and then turn around and come back down. I mean, just things that you don't normally see a deer doing. A deer a lot of times is pretty. They want to go from point A to point B with the path of least resistance. And they may deviate that path a little bit depending on food sources and water sources. But I mean, that deer right there, to me, that deer right there, I think that's the smaller doe. To me, she's acting like she's trying to get back with that bigger group of does, and she's kind of running around looking for them. Whereas this other doe that was maybe a little bit bigger, she didn't want to go up that way for some reason. She turned and kind of got back down here around me and started almost going in, not like a circle, but she would walk into some laurel, not really laurel, but into some hedgerow type stuff, and then pop right back out and loop straight back towards me, and then do a 180 and kind of go back. And you see that sometimes with an older doe, that if she's getting hounded by, a younger buck or a buck that's harassing her, she'll make a couple circles and backtracks to try to throw that deer off that buck, try to confuse him so that she can get away, especially if she knows that she's not quite ready to come in the heat. But I've not seen any bucks like I thought I would. Even the smaller bucks I figured would have, that many does feeding through that area. There typically would be a smaller buck, a spike or something coming by to check them or push them or something. But I don't know what's going on. It's a little strange. Maybe there's a bigger buck kind of satelliting that pack of does. And maybe that's what's got them all kind of freaked out. I don't know.